Okay guys, once again, welcome to my shop. Alright, so where we're at right now is the customer had the battery hooked up backwards. It would no longer crank anymore. Not sure what, if anything, he fried on here. Hopefully it didn't damage the ECU. Getting no fuel pump. It looks as if I may be getting voltage to the fuel pump. It was saying 50 volts, which is blowing my mind because I guess I'm not familiar enough with these engines to understand that type of voltage. I'm looking for 12 or 13. The ECU needs to be put back in. Our starter solenoid is good. Our starter is good. We're cranking good off of my key. We will need to figure out the push button situation or what type of issues going on inside this tiller. I'm going to mount this back up so we keep track of things. Okay, our ECU is back on. And I guess my next step is to, I've isolated the tiller handle completely, so nothing on that tiller handle is going to be an issue with the reason it's not starting or running. I do believe this fuel pump is bad, but okay, so here's our voltage gauge. Prod these wires. My positive is my negative. I think they're hooked up. Key on, nothing. Key crank, nothing. Not sure if these wires are getting prodded correctly. Got to stick it in there pretty far, and I don't think these things reach that far in there. Okay, key on. I got nope, no voltage. Alright, let's follow this back. It goes under here, most likely to the ECU. Let's see if I got any fuel pressure. Getting any fuel pressure from there. I need to actually prod these wires better to make sure we got voltage or not, because if we don't have voltage, then there could be an issue with the ECU or something else. If we do have voltage, the fuel pump should be bad, because I'm getting no pressure out of this fuel pump. Just gotta ground it out. Saying I have 16 volts, 15.9, 15.4. So this voltage changes or drops when I turn the key. And so there's my 12 volts, key on, 12 volts. I think juices up to 50 volts. That's mind-boggling. Anyways, what it does mean is we have voltage going to this fuel pump. See if we can figure out why the tiller handle's not cranking. Maybe it's got some kind of safety feature inside it or something that's not allowing the shutting the fuel pump down. Okay, so what's up? All right. here and see how we can access this. Whoa, bumpy boat. Okay, well, shows how non-versed I am in ETECs. I just now realized that we have to activate the start button. We have to turn the key on. Did not see the key switch in there. I feel pretty stupid. Okay, so now with the key on, we crank. Okay, so I am going to try to look into this fuel pump a little more. At this point though, we have fuel coming through the system, the VST is filling up, gas coming out of it doesn't look too bad, the engine cranks, it tilts and trims. I have what I thought was voltage here but no ground, which is telling me it could be an ECU issue or some kind of safety cutoff or something like that that may have been triggered by the battery being hooked up backwards. I'm not positive yet. Prod the wire. Should be a pretty good prod. Check our voltage meter. That's better. We have 11.71 volts. Okay, so I looked everything up for this 500 9026. They're about $623 and no longer available. Johnson Evinrude sells this entire assembly as one unit because they don't want you to service just a fuel pump. In this case, the only thing bad is this fuel pump. I found a few aftermarket companies that sell a fuel pump itself for around $80 or so. So I think what I'm going to try to do is pull the fuel pump on here and see the condition of this housing, and if it looks decent we may go ahead and give one of these aftermarket fuel pumps a try. Okay, so to remove this, it looks like they have Torx bits holding the housing on, and I think there's one on each side, so I may have to remove this VST assembly. Maybe it's just one. So one Torx, and it should fit in here with the end of the pump with some O-rings on the bottom of it. I already got my plug disconnected. We're going to cut this Oedeker clamp. Let's get this fuel line off of here. All right. Okay, fuel line is moving. We're going to disconnect our battery for safety measures. I don't think I have to worry about any fuel pressure on the system, but if you did, you'd want to hit this purge valve to get rid of your pressure inside of there before you remove this line. Okay, no pressure on ours. Pull our fuel line up. Off of our pump. Okay, so this looks like a T20 Torx. We'll take our Torx out, go easy on it. This is a plastic housing, and I think that's part of the reason they don't want you servicing this. Same with their VRO fuel pumps. They did for a long time sell a rebuild kit for them, but they don't hold up real well, so you got to go easy on the plastic. This clip will lift up along with the pump. So I want to disconnect the fuel tank, fuel line if I can. This is probably hooked direct. I want the tank pressurized and then pumping fuel in this engine. So right here, same deal, Oedeker, but if I remove this filter housing, I can take it off. relieve the pressure out of that fuel tank. Lots of pressure in that tank. These vents on these newer tanks do not work, and these tanks friggin' pressurize like crazy. Alright. So to keep this from siphoning overnight, I'm going to find a way to plug this tank off. And get rid of this clamp. Put a hose clamp on here, another ETEC, or however you pronunciate it. Alright, so I'm going to take the fuel line coming from the tank, got a random hose clamp, plug this thing off so that it doesn't build up pressure in the tank and pump gasoline all over the ground and out of the tank. Okay, lay this up high as well. Alright, so our housing has got the pump out of it. Okay guys, so here's the old fuel pump from the ETEC, and we got our fuel pump in the mail. It's an aftermarket fuel pump. Johnson Evinrude only sells this whole assembly. It's very expensive and it's no longer available. So they do sell an aftermarket fuel pump that you can put on here separately. You got to be real careful not to strip out these screws or damage anything. Really make sure that you're sealed up well. So I've got this pump on here right now, and I'm going to go put some water on it and see if we're running yet. Alright, some water. Key on.